Welcome to a new episode of Nice and Sunny, the podcast. You're traveling on your own? This question happens more often than you think, probably. And this is basically what I want to talk about today. It has a bit of a real-time, real-life application because the last month here in Thailand, where I'm right now, I shared a lot of time with my friend Clara. It's not like exactly that we traveled together, but we were basically spending a lot of time together in the same apartment building and then working in the same co-working space, and a lot of time in between just chatting, having drinks or whatever. So it was sort of traveling with somebody else, which I'm not really used to because I'm usually traveling by myself. So now she actually left a little earlier and I still have 4 days to go, and I thought this was an interesting topic to talk about. So I did yesterday do a live stream on YouTube and Facebook talking about that topic, but I was actually joined by somebody from the co-working space, Adela. But the thing was, like, a thunderstorm hit and it started raining so strongly that we cut the live stream short. So I decided for today's podcast that I'll make it this topic and talk a little longer about it. It's probably, if you're listening to this and you're a man, you're probably not used to this question at all, because to be honest, I've never really heard this question asked in this way to a man. Like, nobody would, if there's a man traveling on his own with a backpack, there's usually nobody coming going, "Hey, you're traveling on your own?" It's like, it's a given. Like, a man can travel on their own, but for a woman it's something different, something weird. And this is why I would like to make this a topic, because I think there's a lot underlying stuff here that we as women have to fix, so that this question doesn't come up anymore. I mean, I have just to bring up a little poker thing, you can compare that question that I'm being asked with this question. Is when I sit at a poker table, and for those of you that don't play poker, there's usually just like 5% women in poker. There's a lot of reasons for that. I'm not going to go into that, but it's just simply not seen as a women's game. It's seen as a men's game, right? Which doesn't make sense because it is a mental game. You don't have to have physical strength to do that. But it happens quite often when I sit at the poker table that somebody, usually an older guy, turns around and at some point says, "So where's your boyfriend?" And some people directly ask, "So you're just waiting for your boyfriend, aren't you? Are you waiting for a partner? Are you traveling here with your partner? Where's your boyfriend? Like, where's your fiance?" or whatever. It's like, it's always this, there's no way you can be here by yourself. There's no way this is your conscious decision as a woman to sit down here at the poker table and play cards. And as frustrating as this is, I got used to it. And I think this is one of these big problems that we're having as women in societies. We just get used to the shit. Listen, why do you not see me sit here? I'm sitting right here. I'm a person sitting right here playing cards. It's like, why is it always that a woman is not supposed to do that? And the same thing, the same way that this question comes at the poker table is the same question that somebody asked, "Are you traveling alone?" Or really, like, "You're traveling on your own?" And the thing is, this question is usually being asked by women. So the poker one is clear, that comes from a guy. By the way, I'm really sorry, I have to go one back, because there was one thing that was really significant when I was in London once playing poker. I wasn't sitting at the table yet. I was signing up to sit at a poker table, and an old guy actually walked just by me and just skipped the line, and then said, "Oh, sorry, dear, did I jump the line?" I said, "Yes, you did." And then he said, "You shouldn't play cards anyway." So just that as a side as well. Okay, so basically the big point when it comes to to this question, "You're traveling on your own," with like 3 question marks, that's usually being asked by women. And this is making me really sad. It does, because it really means that they probably have this as a dream. They've probably been trained that this is something they can't do. This is an activity, a future, a life that they can't have because somebody told them, or society just trained them into thinking that they can't, that they always need a man or a group or other women or something like that. And it does make me sad because we are fully capable of doing this on our own. The thing is, obviously, not everybody wants to. That's a different thing, you know. And I think this might be a little bit of a early conclusion to this. It's not a conclusion, but an early point that we can just like take for the rest of this is listen to yourself, listen to your inside thought process. Like if you think about, oh, I'd love to backpack through New Zealand, but then you don't do it, is it because you actually do not want to do it alone? You know, or is it because you think you can't do it alone? And there's a big difference. You know, obviously I know there's a lot of differences in people, and some like to be in company just in general, and others like solitude. And it's just a simple difference in humans. So that's fact. So if you don't want to travel on your own because you don't want to be lonely, that's a different thing. But if you're not traveling on your own because you think you can't, because you've been somehow conditioned to that, that is something you should really look out for and check inside yourself if that's the reason, because then you have to fix that. And one way of fixing it is just simply do tiny steps, right? Just do the first little weekend away, or do like the first little train ride across the country or wherever you live, you know, and just give it little shots and see how it feels like, and just feel, is it like, what are you scared of? Is it dangerous, or are you scared that you're really like, is it the solitude? Is it that you're getting bored? But usually when you travel, you're not bored, you know, there's stuff to do, and there's always people to meet. So yeah, take the first few steps, because it really is you who makes the decisions, and you can do whatever you want, and you can go wherever you want, right? So we need to get out of this perception that we can't do anything by ourselves, and this starts with us. It really starts with us. We have to go inside ourselves and really fix this weird trained feeling of thinking that we can't. And yes, it's difficult. You know, we're trained like this, and we're constantly confronted with it. But we have to start with our own thinking and perception of this. Otherwise, it won't change. We have to start with it. And as soon as we just go and show them, we're here now, deal with it, you know, then things will change. So that was quite a soft rant right in the beginning. But yeah, so basically, I'm quite used to traveling alone. I think I'm in general okay with being on my own, because I grew up on a tiny little village, and although I had a brother, there was a crucial time of my life when we didn't hang out that much anymore. I think it was like basically the teenage years, the early teenage years, when you start developing your own personality. So I spent a lot of time with myself, figuring out who I was and all that stuff. And I got completely used to it and was completely okay with it, just being by myself. And when I left my parents' house when I was, I think I was 20 when I left, I was living alone as well, and I felt great. So I am definitely a person who's fine with solitude, and I don't need to have people around me all the time. I know you can go into the whole introvert-extrovert thing, but that's I think there's different nuances to that don't really matter for this kind of topic. And yeah, my very first solo travel only actually happened after I left Germany for good with a backpack in 2005. Well, what I thought was for good, because I did come back eventually. But it was really this feeling, okay, I'm leaving Germany now, I'm just going, you know, and I was off. But I didn't consider this leaving Germany, going to England with my backpack and starting a job there as traveling on my own. So the very first solo trip was when I then took a weekend in Paris. And that was for the very first time that I actually went somewhere by myself in a completely new place just to visit it. And it and it's actually the first, basically the first thing that happened when I left the train station with my backpack was having some Frenchmen like zombies swarming around me going, oh, très joli, oh, oui, oui, bonjour. And I was just like, what the fuck? So that was my first experience traveling solo, being like swarmed by I guess horny Frenchmen. It was a weird experience, and obviously you get worried about safety when you're traveling on your own, you know. And I did travel with pepper spray back then. I think nowadays it's not really allowed anymore to travel with it. But that was definitely a reminder. It's like I was suddenly all there by myself with a backpack, so you can't really start running away from somebody if you're having a heavy backpack on your back. So safety is definitely an issue, and there are countries that I want to go to that I know I can't really on my own. You see, that's the thing. Like I know others do it, but I'm just a little more risk averse when it comes to these things than others. I know some women travel to Egypt by themselves, but I just wouldn't do it. I had some negative experiences in Tunisia, so I am a little careful with like Muslim culture, Muslim countries. So in Tunisia, it was a family holiday, and I was 17 and blonde, and I literally almost got kidnapped. So it was very close. So having that in the back of my head, I've heard really bad stories about Egypt. So it's a shame because I really want to see the pyramids, but I know I either want to go with a partner someday, if I ever find one, or with a travel group, and really make sure that I'm safe and it's all coordinated and I don't have to worry about anything. So it's not really the kind of travel I prefer, but there are places where you might want to be just, being cautious and be on the safe side and have people around you. If it's one person who is your partner or best friend or whatever, or if it's a group, but definitely there are countries where you might want to, change that. So in the past I did travel quite a bit with groups. So if it was school trips or other trips, and I did back in the days also with my boyfriend, I traveled with him. We did 2 road trips from Germany through Austria, through Italy to Greece. We did that twice, and it was awesome. But it's obviously, I think it's quite a known thing that for couples, it's always quite dangerous to travel together for a longer time, because it can cause a lot of problems, because often people have different perceptions of what a holiday should look like, right? So some just want to be by the pool, others want to do activities, and that can be something, once that comes to the surface in a relationship, that might change the whole base of a relationship if you notice that 2 people are into completely different things. So it's usually quite dangerous for friendships and partnerships to travel together, because you're in such close proximity for a longer period of time. I honestly can't remember how this went with my boyfriend back then. We obviously had a couple of arguments, but in general it was fine. Now, here when Clara was here, as I said, it wasn't like traveling together, so we didn't go through all these stressful moments of making it on time to get the shuttle bus, or rushing through an airport, or all these things. So I didn't experience that, but it was just simply great having somebody around. And I know all the good things when you're traveling, as a female especially, that are just being supported by somebody else. Is really simple stuff, like you're in an airport with your hand luggage somewhere and you want to go to the bathroom, and then you just have to roll all that stuff with you and like awkwardly get it in the cabin, in the toilet cabin with you. While if you have somebody there with you, you can just say, can you watch this for a second, and go, right? Same if you want to go to the beach and just lie on the beach for a little bit. You can go in the water and just ask the other person to watch your stuff for a bit and while you splash around, right? So all these things are the positive sides, obviously negative sides if you're traveling together. There's often arguments what to do, so it's not just activity or chilling, it's also which restaurant to go to, which food to have, when to get up, when to do that. So there's a lot of room for arguments, basically, which you're completely able to dismiss when you're just being on your own. Another thing is obviously we're here in a co-working and co-living space. So it's here in Thailand on the island of, so it's Koh Hub. That's the name of the co-working space. And this is on Koh Lanta in the south of Thailand. And this is a great way of doing this. There's a lot of people there that are traveling alone because you come here and then immediately you have a community, right? So you have people around you, you can talk to people, you can even make business connections with people. There's very likely some romances going on that somehow found each other in these co-working spaces. So it's very interesting to see it that way, that you travel to a distant place by yourself, but you're not alone because there are other people having done exactly the same. And I know like hostels are known for that as well, right? So that's why a lot of people, even if they don't stay in like bunk beds, like to be in hostels because the people they meet at breakfast or something are quite often like-minded, even though there might be massive age differences. And yeah, all these, so co-working spaces, hostels and all this stuff, and traveling with other people together, all this has a couple of really important upsides. So it's safety, we talked about that, then it's costs. So a lot of these things really save you money because if you're traveling on your own, you always pay more. And I'm not sure how this can be fixed other with these co-working, co-living situations. But this is always the major issue, is that the costs are way higher if you travel on your own. And the other things that are upsides, if you're together with groups and so on, is community and connection. So the last two, though, community and connection, are really something that I saw in this co-working space that you can find super easily in places like this. So everybody's there with the same mindset, and you easily start conversations, and you easily make friends. And a really interesting thing is when you meet people on the road, these connections, these deep connections, when you have really deep conversations about life and the universe or whatever, these happen more often than you would think, because sometimes you think, oh, you meet these random people somewhere, so everything is going to be superficial, which most of them are. Most of them is just, hey, who are you, what do you do, and then you maybe think about how you can connect work-wise or friendship-wise. But then there are some of these connections that go deep very fast. So you start talking about really the deepest fears, the deepest points in your past or something, and it's quite incredible how that can happen. And then all of a sudden you just move on, the other person moves on, and that's it. But you had this very deep connection, at least for a while, which sometimes you don't even have with your friends because they don't want to talk with you about your dark secrets and your inner demons. So it can be quite therapeutical. Is that the right word? Therapeutic? Yeah. To travel on your own and then meet random people and talk to them about stuff. Definitely. There was one article that I read as well that said it's almost like a religious experience to find yourself, to go out on that journey and find yourself, because you are with yourself. You have to learn to be okay with yourself in a strange environment, especially. So it's really interesting how this can be seen. Another upside is once you go to these kind of places on your own and you actually do make connections with new people, this will boost your confidence dramatically. So you will get so much better in just striking up a conversation with a stranger and just getting, or being okay if somebody starts talking to you and so on. It's really helpful to just get in the mix and start talking to people and build those connections. Okay, so it was a little bit of a rambling podcast episode, I think. It's fine because my head is a little in in the clouds with all this at the moment. But I think the main point I really would like to get across here is, so we live in a time that makes it possible for really anyone to travel on their own. It's not just men, women can travel on their own. So don't let anybody tell you that you can't do that. Don't let anybody hold you back. If this is your dream, if you want to travel on your own, if this is your dream, don't let anybody hold you back. Like anyone, especially not yourself. Okay, so I'll leave you with that. Put a little thinking in that. If you really feel you don't want to travel by yourself, why is that? Is it really just because you don't want to be alone? That's fine. Just get a friend. There's all kinds of websites as well where you can find travel buddies, But if you find that it's really because you've been conditioned to believing that you're not good enough, not strong enough, not confident enough, whatever, work on that. Really work on that. Because if it's your dream to go travel on your own, you should. Because it's very, very important to do that. Okay, so I'll wrap this up. Just a quick update. So I'm still in Thailand. The next time I'm going to talk to you is going to be from a new country, because on Thursday I'm going to travel to Hanoi. I'm going to Vietnam for the first time in my life, so completely new country. And yes, I am an experienced solo traveler, so how this stuff works for me: if I go to a new country, I go and make sure that the hotel books a shuttle for me, or I have the Grab app, or I have a shuttle book, any kind of thing. I know exactly what to do when I arrive and how to get to the hotel. And once I'm there, I'm good for a bit anyway. But I do a lot of work in advance to know what to expect. I have booked a food tour and sightseeing so that I get a really good overview of the city. I'm also going to meet some people I work with there, so I'm not going to be alone anyway. Okay, so that's that. If you want to follow me on this journey, I will update more on Instagram when the travels continue. I'm obviously recording vlogs of all my travels all the time. The thing is, I'm very far behind with editing this stuff, so I'm probably 2-3 months behind, but I will catch up at some point. So I'm hoping by the end of the year it's all caught up. And yeah, this podcast, then I have a Facebook page and everything, also Twitter, also TikTok. Also, all of it is under the name Nice and Sunny. Some of them are spelled together, and some of them have an ampersand in the middle. So you will find it Nice and Sunny. And if you can't find it, you can look for my name. It's Christin Maschmann. So it's Christin Maschmann. Just to trip up all the English speakers. Okay, so those are the things that you can check out to stay in touch and see what I'm up to. And if you want to get in touch, you can do that on either of those platforms, or you can send me an email on contact@niceandsunny.com. Any questions, any suggestions what to talk about, any feedback, I'm more than happy to receive that. And if you want to, I can read that out on the next podcast as well. I hope you enjoyed this, and honestly, it's really close to my heart that more people go travel and more women specifically feel more confident and happy to do that on their own and not feel the need to wait for somebody else to be by their side until they can finally go on that journey. So yeah, a little bit to think about, and I'll say goodbye here from Thailand. Next time you hear from me, it's going to be in Vietnam. So bye!